Hi, Mohammed. How are you?
Hello, Firoz. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you. Thank you for, you know, agreeing to be a guest on our, sales focused podcast. You're my first guest from the Middle East region. So you're going
Yeah.
to be flying the flag first for that region. So I appreciate you agreeing to come and be on.
Happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. It'd be good to, start with a bit of, a background to yourself for, those who may not know a bit about you.
Sure. I'm part of our system sales team in the Middle East. I This is my third year with OutSystems. Before that, I was in sales as well. It was with a government technology company. It was around 8 years in that job. Before that, I had like several jobs in the pre-sales and business analysis areas in different companies. And I actually started my first two jobs were in software engineering. So I was developing and coding
Yeah, I
solutions
saw.
myself.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And I saw that on your thing and on your LinkedIn, and I was like interested to kind of hear how did you go from developing to sales?
Yeah, it was actually it wasn't like a big plan that I made from the beginning. It was just whenever I was in a job, I felt like more inclined to go more towards dealing directly with customers. So in software engineering, you don't get to have this chance. You get sort of a module or task to build. You're still solving problems, but not directly with you're already starting with a solution. Like someone is
Yeah,
giving you, this is what we need to do. And then I moved to business analysis because I felt like, oh, I get to interview customers and learn about the requirements and
yeah,
advise them and all that. Then pre-sales and then sales, which is like the ultimate customer interaction job that I currently have. Yeah,
yeah. And how was that transition for you? Even though obviously, yeah, you said you like that. You didn't want the people in the middle, right? You wanted direct access to be speaking to the customers. But obviously, working in a technical capacity versus a sales capacity with customers is a big shift, right? It's a change of
absolutely.
the way you're working. How was that kind of process for you?
Yeah, it was like I said, there are some similarities. I feel like we are still solving a problem or offering a solution to a problem, whether that is a piece of code or an interface or an integration, all the way to your discussion with the customer about the business problems and cost savings and all that. So the thing is, or the motive behind it for me was that I wanted to like, or I felt like I can have an advantage or a differentiator when I hear about the problems firsthand from the customer, and I would then use my basically curiosity first to learn more about this problem
Yeah,
and to start to like formulate a solution with those customers. Like I said, I like how if we're saying that both of them are problem solving
yeah.
skills anyway, I still think that you get to see the bigger picture when you talk to the customer directly, not in the back office when you're working on developing a piece of code.
Yeah, yeah. I guess that experience that you had from developing is obviously a transferable skill, right? Because obviously it's all knowledge that you can use in the selling process. It's very much,
Absolutely.
it's not wasted. It's very much, it's going to add value that you've got the technical side along with the selling
Absolutely.
side as well.
Absolutely. And the same goes for business analysis, by the way.
Uh,
So in business analysis, you get to sit with a lot of different teams from the customer's end. You're listening to the requirements from IT perspective, from business perspective, and the different teams as well, whether they are HR or marketing or finance and all that. So again, it helps you build this like complete idea
yeah,
about the situations that you face right now as a salesperson with your champion. They
yeah,
must be thinking about all this as well, not only like a technical solution to a problem.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And you mentioned, you're coming up to 3 years without systems, obviously that's another shift, because you're going into the low code space now, and, I'm interested to know, had you heard of low code before you started without systems? And what was your first kind of, a lot of people, you'd know this, a lot of people are skeptical of low code, right? So what was your initial,
Yeah.
thinking around it?
Yeah, yeah. I first of all, when it comes to the timeline, I feel like I joined the low-code community late, actually. It was
Okay.
overdue.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I had the chance to join earlier and to learn more about like the potential and the possibilities
Oh,
of low code. As for when I was like introduced to it or heard about it, it was actually I cannot define like a certain point in time where I
Yeah.
started to hear about low code, but it was several years ago, and it actually started as like my competition. So I was
Okay.
my in my previous company, I used to sell COTS or commercial off-the-shelf
Mm.
products, and we started to see like a trend or like a tendency for our customers to ask questions that relatively tell you that they know about other capabilities
Mm.
and the more capabilities than what you're offering. And it's not traditional code.
Yeah.
So usually we were going and selling codes and telling the customer about its advantages and why you need to go this way versus traditional development. But I started to notice that customers are asking different questions, not about traditional development, not about codes. It's something that we need to study. So yeah, and then I started to explore it. Again, back then it was just to have like an objection answering
Yeah.
sort of discussion with the customers. And then I decided to no, this is too big of a potential for me to miss.
That's amazing. That's great. It's great how you saw it coming up as a competitor, and now you've kind of gone in that direction, and now you're deep within that community now. So that's great to see. And I'm
Yeah.
interested to know, obviously, and this kind of fits in well with what were you doing before. How did you have to shift your conversations, and what kind of strategies did you have to use? When you're obviously selling low code
Yeah.
versus everybody knows traditional. That's just the way it's been done for so long, right? That's just normality. So when you're going in, obviously the Middle East region isn't as mature as some other regions. It's still kind of growing, but
Mhm.
how have you kind of found that, with when you're going into customers, trying to obviously get past the skeptics, and what strategies do you use to show them that low code stands out?
Yeah. So, first of all, when it comes to the differentiation between how we position back then COTS, or before that, I used to sell also traditional
Yeah.
development. I think there are a lot of still of similarities. When we try to again back to problem solving, we're still
Mhm.
offering
Yeah.
a solution to a problem. We are still trying to position ourselves as a trusted advisor of the customer and to consult them on that initiatives that they are trying to do. But I think one of the major differences between both traditional slash COTS and low code and out
Mm.
systems, is that in traditional and COTS, we used to focus on like very heavily on the solution or the scope that the customer is trying to implement here and now. Okay. And that requires that we burden the customer with a lot of questions about the specifications, and they had to give us like the most amount of specifications possible right from the beginning, because even if you're using Agile to deliver that solution, you still need a solid set of requirements in the beginning,
Yeah.
so you can actually commit on a timeline and the cost for the project. So that was the situation with traditional and codes, but I think it's completely different with low code, because with low code we're getting a lot of advantages from the methodology and the approach that low code is offering when it comes to solution delivery, and that is you can benefit from the fast development to build a proof of concept or a proof of value for your solution. You can test it with your business stakeholders. You can get quick feedback, and you can do another iteration and another iteration until you reach that form or that shape that you want for your solution. So I think it's much easier for the customers now versus if we compared it with traditional code and commercial off the shelf. Plus, with low code, we're also talking about a complete transformation of the IT organization and the way they are thinking about delivering solutions, whether it's within the IT organizations or to their customers, internal and external customers. So we want them to know that their idea about the delivery time and the quality of the deliverables from that software are much more different than traditional development and codes. This is one thing. The other thing is that we want also them to know the the high degree of business and IT collaborations that we are able to achieve with low code, which was not also a strong point in
Yeah.
traditional development. So I think in general that is one of the biggest differences. Back then we talked only about the here and now solution that you want, the technical solution. And now with low code, we're talking about the potential, we're talking about the possibilities. And I think it's very easy for the customers now, once they see solid proof of what you're talking about when it comes to low code capabilities, it's easy for them to visualize a much brighter future for their IT organization and for the bigger organization.
Yeah. And, I think, most IT leaders know about low code now. I think it's not it's very rare someone hasn't heard the term low code, and, I think a lot of people see the value, but do you still, I'm interested to know, especially in the region you're kind of pushing low code in, are there still, a lot of misconceptions? What are the biggest misconceptions you still come across when speaking to these IT leaders?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. I mean, first of all, when it comes to the Middle East and the trends that we see when it comes to adoption of flow code, uh, we're increasingly seeing customers or prospects more open to learn and to listen to what low code has to offer, especially as they see more and more success stories when it comes to successful implementations and successful adoption of low code. So they are becoming more open to hear to what you have to offer as a low code platform. But when it comes to the misconceptions, I think they are much they are very similar to what we see worldwide. I mean, if I just have to pick two, and they are basically we can call them polarized expectations from low code, because you have two extreme ends that represent what the customers expect from low code. On one end, you see some customers saying that, okay, now we have low code, we can develop everything very quickly with visual development, with drag and drop. We don't need developers anymore. we can we can build whatever we want in a matter of days, and that's it. That's what we expect from low code. And on the other hand, you see the people that are skeptical about low code, and they are on the other extreme, literally, because they are like, low code will get you as far as drag and drop will take you, which is not very far, and you better keep it for just simple solutions for internal teams and for interdepartmental work. And the reality is, what we're offering is like something not on that extreme and not on that extreme. It is something that basically gives you or helps you achieve this balance between the unlimited capabilities that you used to have with traditional development. You can build whatever you want on low code. You can integrate anything without systems. You can build as many channels as you want on web, mobile, kiosks, and virtual assistants, even, and chatbots and all that. So there are no limits on what you can build with low code. And on the other hand, we're giving you, what you're getting as a benefit from low code, is that you don't have to build all that from scratch like you used to do with traditional development, .NET and Java and all that. You don't have to do that from scratch. You can benefit from the visual programming capabilities, from the ready-made connectors and components that we have, ready-made screens, ready-made everything. You can use these as accelerators, which will cut your development time by anywhere between 40 to 60%. And then it's open for customization. As I mentioned, you can continue to build whatever you want. And the thing that not all customers see right from the beginning is that it's not only about accelerating the development time or increasing the quality of that first solution or that first version of the application. It's about also making it easier for you to operate, to maintain, and to diagnose any problems that you see with that application later on. Why? Because OutSystems was able to help you to design a very solid architecture from the beginning, to maintain changes on that architecture and dependency between the different application components from one place, which is a platform. So I think I would say those are the main misconceptions, those two extremes that I told you about.
Yeah, that's interesting. And with sales, obviously, it's all about, when you have success, it gives you momentum to push on and kind of do more. Any deal you sign obviously gives you this confidence to keep going, right? And I'm interested to know, in your 3 years, obviously with low code, I think there's always, first deals are always memorable, because you start a new company, first will be memorable. But can you talk me through, one of your, some of your most, memorable deals that you've done, that, have really kind of been really big for the Middle East market?
Sure, absolutely. So it was a government entity in the health and human services domain, and Obviously, as you can imagine, they had a wide range of mission critical
Yeah.
applications. It's a very sensitive sector, the health and
Mm.
human services.
Yeah.
So they had a lot of applications that are mission critical for both for public facing services and for internal employees. And when by the time we met with them and started to pitch low code, they were already not in a very good shape after a lot of failed attempts with other technologies. They had three different technologies. Two of them are business process management systems. I will not name names, of course, but two
I've
of them
narrowed it
were.
down when you said that.
I think you did, yeah. And
Yeah.
the third one was actually a low code, one of the low code vendors. So they had those three implementations. I don't want to describe them as completely failed, but they were not as satisfactory to the customer as they wanted them to be. So they started to think about low code capabilities and whether or not it can help them. Especially like we can actually draw a very good connection between this that we're discussing right now and what we just mentioned. Especially
Yeah.
with wide range of expectations around low code.
Yeah.
We have a mission critical business. We have mission critical services. We have a lot of considerations for the quality of the outcome from this platform. So we started a journey with them that included education and awareness about low code and about out systems. That included a lot of proof points, just to show them solid evidence around
Mm.
how we can do that better than the things that they tried before. And we were able to actually build a very good proposal for the replacement of these systems. And when they saw that OutSystems is able to deliver this functionality, functional requirements and non-functional requirements or quality requirements, OutSystems was able to deliver it, and also with the considerations related to security and the privacy of the customer data that they have. As you know, it's very sensitive
Yeah.
information. A superior mobile experience to offer to their end customers using mobile phones, and the integration capabilities as well, because in that domain you have so many integrations with internal
Yeah.
systems, other government entities, with commercial and private sector entities. So they saw all of these proof points around the functional capabilities, and we ended up replacing all these previous technologies with out systems for a
Mm.
total of 50% of the cost that they used to,
Wow.
in 40% of the time that they predicted for,
Wow.
or that they actually spent on that implementation. This is it's one of the deals for a salesperson. It's one of the deals that
Yeah.
don't only feel like, oh, it's a big deal in terms of
Yeah.
like commercial value, but
Yeah.
also in terms of impact. And
Yeah.
this is what I think our company, what I think our systems is pursuing, to have that
Yeah.
kind of impact for its technology on the actual lives of our
Yeah.
customers.
Yeah. And I think, obviously impact is, one, it's obviously successful for the customer and it will get the customer more confidence to keep building more. But
Yeah,
also, if you look at the commercial side, obviously those type of examples help you when going into other businesses in a similar industry, right? If you can show a use case like that, surely that's going to add, it goes back to the confidence of the salesperson that one, you were involved
absolutely.
in that deal. And then two, it's such a successful story that you can confidently talk about that. It just helps your selling process.
Absolutely. And back to our the angle that we're looking at when it
Mm.
comes to the Middle East, it is one of the requirements I think that's being highlighted here versus anywhere
Yeah.
else in the world, which is the ownership that the customer expects from you when you
Mm.
engage with them. You need to demonstrate that level of ownership around the solution, that deliverable. Even if a partner is delivering the solution, they expect you
Yeah.
to be or to express that level of ownership. And when you mentioned that after you implement the first solution, they can go ahead with other
Yeah.
solutions, I actually see this as one of the differentiators in this market versus the rest of the world, which is that if you were able to build a success story and successful adoption with your platform, you end up with a lot of advocates that can make
Yeah.
the job easier for you down the road.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Because they're all, as you guys call them, champions, right? Champions within the organization who will help you. They can be part of your sales process even, right? When speaking to customers who obviously
Absolutely.
may have doubts, or, you know, they can speak to someone directly where they know obviously they don't work for our systems. They don't have to say everything's great, but they choose to join those calls and say, look, this is what this platform's done for us, you know, which is, you know, a nice feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I have to admit it's one of the factors that contributed to the level of expansion and the level of growth that we're enjoying right now, and also the footprint that we have across industries.
Yeah.
We are serving now more than 24 different
Wow.
industries and domains worldwide. A big part of that successful expansion and the appetite of the customers to try
Yeah.
to have low code in their own industry was the successful adoption and successful implementation that they hear about from similar customers and from similar stakeholders.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm interested to know, you know, have you ever had a situation where you're working on a prospect and, you know, it feels like this is not going to land. This is not going to go the way I want it to go. I've invested a lot of time, but somehow you've still managed to get it over the line, you know, and I'm interested to know, have you had that situation, and what was it that convinced them to bring them from the red line to positive?
It's actually a feel good story that I can tell you
Okay.
about
Nice.
because it was with a customer in the customs and border protection domain. Okay, you know about PSNS, public safety and national security domain.
Yep.
It's not the easiest to work with and to pursue. But when we started with them, we were able to build that open
Mm.
discussion around technology and how it can help them. So we reached the point where they were like, the stakeholders were like, okay, these are our strategic goals, and you need to tell us how technology can help, but with details and with a solid business case that we can quantify, that we can explain to the rest of the organization. So as you might expect, by design, if you want to know more details about this sector or their operations and all that, you cannot find them online. We agreed on that, how I can help them build this positioning and all that. I went back home and Firuz, I like scanned the internet just to get more
Yeah.
details about how do you guys do this, and again, it's not about you want to know what are the industry best practices or the industry
Mm.
standards. No, that wasn't going to cut it with them. They wanted you to advise on how technology can go into the daily operations on the different levels that they are handling. So after I failed to find any more solid information about the sector and the operations online, I had an idea to just go on LinkedIn and find retired officers, CPP officers, and just start to text them and see if they want to help me.
Yeah. Wow.
That's why I'm telling you it's a feel good story,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I sent messages to retired officers from Australia, Malaysia, the European Union, because in EU they have some sort of
Yeah.
unified standards. All of them were super happy, Firoz, to help, and they are like, okay, let us know what
Yeah.
questions do you have in mind. We will tell you about our experience, about the challenges of day-to-day operations, and all that. With their help, I was able to build a very good business case for the customer, and because I took from them like the business challenges and the business
Yeah.
problems, and also their attempts as business teams to solve those problems. And then I started to do that mapping between where technology can help and what are the gaps within their business. I would say without their help, without the help from those retired officers, we wouldn't have gotten the deal, because yeah, once we presented that to the customer was like, "Where do I sign?" It
Oh,
was
wow. Wow.
a done
That's
deal. Yeah,
amazing. And that's what sales is about, right? It's about, you know, out of the box thinking. What can you do? You know, it's all about, you know, I think sales is a thing where someone with 5 years experience, someone with 20 years experience, there's always some learning. You can always learn
absolutely.
something, right? And it's about, you know, you could have just given up and said, look, we'll just go with what we've got and let's see if we get it over the line. But you kept
Yeah,
pushing to make sure you had the best, you could put the best foot forward to do everything you can, you know, and then bring in I'm sure those people, because they're retired, it felt nice to be needed as well, you know, that, oh, you know, this
exactly.
guy needs my help. It's great, you know, so that's a really nice story, actually. It's a really good one.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And, obviously, this is probably on your, I can only imagine how many times you talk about AI in a day, right? In your role, it must be, you know, it must be kind of from the moment you get up to the moment you clock off, AI is buzzing around, right? So how,
Yeah.
with the introduction of AI, obviously, OutSystems is heavily investing in AI capabilities, how has that influenced your sales approach, for low code? Because obviously it's a different positioning now, how have you had to kind of change your style and kind of your approach to customers?
Yeah, it was actually the introduction of AI. As you know, you're pretty close to OutSystems,
Yes. Yes.
and it's not something new.
Yeah.
Perhaps we were able to launch new
Mm.
features in Mentor
Yeah.
lately, but we started to work and to have solutions for this potential and for the expectations of our customers from AI back, I think, starting 2018. And it's actually, I don't want to brag, but like it's part of what I always say about OutSystems, which is that OutSystems is what every other low-code platform is trying to be,
Yeah.
because that's one of the reasons we are solving problems before other people know that there are potential here or problems here. But back to your question, it's essentially for me as a salesperson, essentially. It complemented and it continued the discussions that we had with customers before around using low code for to accelerate development and for all that within the IT organization, but at the same time achieve cost saving for the bigger organization, to better experience for your end customers, spend less time on operations and the burden of building solutions and more time on innovation. That was our mostly our message before, and AI came to complement that, because we don't only offer AI in terms of what comes on top of people's mind,
Yeah.
like chatbots and all that.
Mm.
We had we had AI embedded within the platform to help developers build better applications. I don't want to go into details on how we do that, but on a high level, we had it
Yeah.
for developers. We had it to help you manage and monitor your entire software development lifecycle and manage the dependencies and impact between the different components in your application on the level of the application and the level of the bigger application portfolio. And of course, we had the part related to the end customer experience and the interaction with the customer and the sort of AI generated content
Yeah.
and functionality that you can help the customers with. So what it actually did when it was introduced, or when everybody now is talking about it, again, it was just we complemented that message. Now with AI, you can save more, you can have
Yeah.
much more better experience and interaction with your end customers. You can achieve even more savings when it comes to the development lifecycle. Which, speaking of the development lifecycle, I'm sure you saw Mentor.
Yes. I did.
Yeah. When our customers see Mentor and the capabilities that
Yeah.
it has, without exaggeration, it's jaw dropping. People see
Yeah.
that, and I feel like they are fighting the urge to ask, where do we sign? Because when it's really mind blowing when you see something like this. Let's
Mm.
call it that module
Yeah.
within our platform, and you see the level of speed and level of accuracy and level of quality that it was able to achieve for application generation. Again, it's mind blowing, and customers can immediately visualize how their IT organization will look like after
Yeah.
adopting such capabilities. So that is for Mentor. And what is also different about Mentor is that it's not one of the features where you look at several low-code platform and say, oh, in this platform it's better, and in this platform it's
Yeah.
less. No, it's only in OutSystems. And with those capabilities, it's unmatched. It's only in OutSystems. And again, it's very easy for us and for our customers to establish a connection between what this AI module can offer and what benefits can we achieve after adopting it.
Yeah, I was there in Amsterdam when Paolo gave the opening
Yeah.
presentation of Mentor, and I know the product team did a more in-depth kind of demo after, and I remember just the conversation in the first coffee break after that. It was obviously we had a booth, so people were coming and talking to us, and like you said, people were like, "Wow, this is just the first version." where's this going to go? Right. This
Exactly.
is just the first version, so obviously it's going to evolve, but for what was kind of released as a first version, it definitely piqued people's interest,
Yeah.
and even, you're talking about obviously the new customers, existing customers, you could see their mind going, okay, what's this going to do for us? How's this going to add value in our organization?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's actually part of our jobs as the salespeople of OutSystems and our partner sales teams as well, to guide our customers and to help them
Yeah.
find the right use cases for such capabilities, and to help them link those capabilities and the outcomes that they can get from those capabilities with their strategic goals. Because we have to say it, AI is not the end goal of our customers, or
Yeah.
adoption of AI is not the end goal. It is a means, one of the means to achieve their
Yeah.
strategic goals. And again, it's part of this consultative approach that we're trying to always offer to our customers, to help them with to establish that connection between AI capabilities and the end goals or the strategic goals that they have.
Yeah. And earlier in the conversation, you touched on obviously the two extremes of misconceptions, right?
Yeah.
If we look at like now AI is in the mix, and you already had people talking about, I'm not going to need developers, this low code thing is great.
Yeah.
Has with AI coming in the mix, has that even accelerated even more? Is there more people thinking, okay, well, we'll be able to do these things with more citizen development, even maybe, or just the business will be able to handle it
Yeah.
without talent?
Yeah, what happened was better than I expected, to be honest.
Okay.
Because yes, there were some like a heightened level of expectations
Yeah.
from that extreme that we just
Yeah.
mentioned, but it wasn't as high as I expected. I mean,
Okay.
the
Good.
misconception,
Yeah.
the misconception part. So what we're doing is that we're explaining to especially with our SAs, the
Yeah.
people that are the technical people that have
Right.
the experience around what customers might expect from this from technical perspective. We're explaining to our customers why they still need to have a development team that is able to formulate their business requirements in a
Wow.
way that can actually solve their problems, and to also do the rest of the development work, because what we're offering with Mentor and with all these accelerators again that we had since back in
Mm.
2018, it just we're giving you a fast track, and we're reducing or sparing the developers the burden of building everything from scratch.
Yeah.
So whether that was, let's say, 30, 40% or 40 to 50%, and we pushed it to be 50 to 60%, there is still 50 to 40% that you need to consider having developers for. I think there are still things that you need to be handled by developers, especially when setting expectations and collecting requirements and finding the best, because not every problem has one solution, right? There could
Yeah.
be different solutions for every problem, and I think the presence of developers helps you with that. Also the very same the very important point that is worth mentioning is that with the capabilities that are offered by our systems, we're only offering enterprise solutions,
Yeah.
complex solutions that you can build with the platform. It's not like you're using a no-code platform
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and you're just stuck with what it can offer,
Yeah.
and that's it. I think for those kind of platforms, you can actually do well without a developer. The
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
code platforms, because you also have the right expectations from them. You're not
Mm.
expecting to build that
Yeah. Of
full-fledged
course. Yeah.
yeah. But without systems, because we're building complex enterprise systems that usually have a lot of customizations to meet the unique requirements of every organization, you still need to have a development team to build and to complement the solution as you expect from it.
Yeah. Yeah. And being in the kind of the Middle East market, and I think most people outside of the Middle East, especially in the last decade or maybe even more, see it as,
Mhm.
Dubai, Saudi, big money, and, big kind of, everyone's rich and loads of money lying around, but, with low code evolving, how is it evolving in the Middle East market? You touched on so many different industries that are adopting
Yeah.
out systems. What are some of the most common industries that are really kind of thinking, obviously, like when you get a use case that will help you push on, with others, other businesses. But what are some of the leading industries that are adopting out systems in the region?
Yeah, there are a couple actually, but I don't want to focus on like to name industries as much
Yeah.
as I want to give you an idea about uh, why and how those there are certain industries that are adopting low code more. I'm sure you might have already heard about the vision programs that
Yes.
the Middle East countries have.
Yes.
Vision 2030 for Saudi and the similar one for UAE and Qatar and,
Yeah.
and all these countries. And what those visions are essentially offering to the market and to software vendors and to the whole ecosystem is a chance to see how transformation is taking place within those countries, which is cascading to all the industries
Yeah.
that exist in those countries. So it's giving you a very good opportunity to think of what industries to target, which are contributing to achieving that
Yeah.
national vision or the whole thing countrywide. So you can think of which industries are helping, and you can, like we were saying earlier, you can establish a link between what solution I'm offering, what capabilities I'm offering with low
Mm.
code, and how they can help my customer achieve those strategic goals within the bigger vision program or transformation
Yeah.
program that they have. Of course, with transformation and with those opportunities that we're seeing, there are still a lot. It's also introducing challenges around the homework that you need to do. You need
Yeah.
to be well aware of again how you're going to contribute to this, and also on, let's say, on the day-to-day level of operations, you need to have very good champions that will help you
Yeah.
with information and to work on your case, and you need to have multiple of them in every single organization that you're working
Yeah.
with, because with transformation there is a fast-paced movement of people from one entity to another, and you need to make sure you avoid surprises because you
Yeah.
don't want to work with Muhammad for a couple of months, establishing that great
Yeah.
champion relationship, and then get surprised that Muhammad is leaving next week.
Yeah. Of
So
course.
it's also very very important. So in a nutshell, it's transformation is making everything fast paced. You need to find the role and the value of your offering within that transformation and its contribution to that transformation, and at the same time you need to be aware of how this fast-paced environment and atmosphere could surprise you with certain
Yeah.
things, and to be cautious and around it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And on top of that, obviously, you're selling a disruptive software, right? It's disrupting the way people know how to do things. So, what would be some advice you would give to someone who's, you've transitioned into low code, and had to kind of just go, for someone now considering, okay, I've been selling traditional, I'm gonna try selling low code. What advice would you give to someone starting off?
Yeah, I think it's really simple. Just like throughout this session today, we tapped a lot on the potential and of low code
Yeah.
and the perception of our customers about it. So I would say the most important thing for someone transitioning to a role in selling low code is to actually fully comprehend the potential of this technology. So they can guide their customers with use cases, they can guide their customers with adoption plans of that technology, and they can position it right with the right customers as well. So I think this is the most important, and to also understand or be aware of the differences that we mentioned in the beginning around
Mm.
the difference between selling traditional development,
Yeah.
commercial off the shelf, or selling low code.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And when you're kind of in these sales cycles, what's the biggest red flag you look for early to let you know kind of this deal isn't kind of serious, or it's not going to it's not going to close. There's things, obviously there's things in a cycle that make it, okay, is this really what I think it is? What are some of the biggest red flags you would advise people to look for early in a sales cycle?
Well, there are a lot of signs actually that you can see and that they will help you to say I need to walk away or I need to
Yeah,
stop
yeah,
pursuing that. But if I want to name one or two, I would say um, if you're unable to build or to have a good champion, or if you're talking to someone and they are refusing to open the doors for you to have a good champion, which basically another way of saying there is no ownership for the initiative. There is no ownership for whether it's your company or a different company. No one is the owner of this. No one has skin in the game
yeah,
for this initiative. So you better work on that. You better fix this setup that you have. If I want to name another one, it would be, of course, the lack of compelling events. So you could have the right person that you're talking to. He's enthusiastic about adopting low code, but they are unable to help you find a good use case and a compelling
yeah,
event for that use case and a solid need within the organization that will help him or help them and help you to allocate a budget and find the right people to continue to like the deal making process that you want to achieve.
yeah, yeah. And earlier on I spoke about, obviously with sales, it's forever learning, right? You're always learning. I'm interested
Yeah.
to know, what's the best lesson you've learned from a deal that didn't go through, and it's helped you be a better seller.
It's like you said, we're continuously learning all the time, every day, all
Yeah.
day. We're learning, and it's one of the things that I love about this job. To be honest, every day there are new situations, there are new requirements that you have from the customer or the market or your partners. And although I cannot recall one single
Yeah.
situation now, I think it's mostly reinforcement of the things that we have been mentioning from beginning. If you don't have if you don't have a good champion, if you cannot spot a use case where you can help and where you can add value within your customer organization, what we mentioned about the compelling events as well, I think
Mm.
where most of the cases where you end up losing a deal will be related to one of these three.
Yeah. Yeah. And this year, you joined the President's Club, for Out Systems. I'm interested now. Obviously, that's an overachiever, right? To get to hit those numbers, it's someone who's smashed the targets, right? So congratulations, firstly. But I want to know,
Thank you.
in your mind, obviously, that's something that it's a nice thing. But what separates just a normal account exec, from someone who's pushing for, President's Club level?
Yeah, I would say the, the to distinguish between the kind of effort that you need to exert to get you to your quota and the kind of effort that you need for more than
Yeah.
getting your quota. I think it's just to or at least what worked for me is to have your own KPIs on top of your. I
Okay.
mean, if you only stick to your comp plan, your compensation plan, you will do well. You will try
Mm.
to achieve as much as you can against this compensation plan. But I think if you want to get something extra out of your year or your quarter or all that, you need to have something on top of the comp plan. Of course, you stick with the comp plan, but you need additional KPIs for
Mm.
yourself to guide your own work in the deals that you're pursuing. I will not say what are my own KPIs on top
Yeah,
of the
sure.
comp plan because I feel they shouldn't be necessarily relevant to other
Yeah.
people. But I think if you have your own set of KPI that you are trying to achieve on top of the comp plan, they will help you focus. They will help you be to be, they will help you to be more able to target certain accounts and certain deals that you spend your time and energy on. That will get you to that ultimate achievement that you are trying to do, whether it's President Club or something else.
Yeah.
But again, that's what is working for me. I'm not sure if it's like an advice for people, but I think
Yeah.
it's yeah.
Yeah, great. That's great. And for me, I see salespeople very similar to sports people, right? Where, you have to be when you have to be on, you have to be on, right? You have to be switched on and ready to go.
Yeah.
You have to you could be having a bad day, but when that meeting starts, you need to be different mindset, ready to go, game face on. I'm interested
Yeah.
to know, obviously, it's a very high performing, goal orientated, pressured role like sports. And like you said,
Yeah.
obviously having your own targets, company targets, that can obviously weigh on, especially if there's a few bad months and quarters and things like that. Is there anything you do outside of work that helps you switch off and just helps you kind of, just switch off out of the work mode? So then when you are on,
Yeah.
you've kind of, you're not burnt
Recharged.
out.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Absolutely. I think the number one thing is actually the physical activity.
Mm.
So if I'm trying to be in the gym most days of the week just to balance between the stress and
Yeah.
all the anxiety that could
Yeah. Yeah.
that could be the result of pursuing some deals. So it helps a lot to my time in the gym. It balances the stress out. Also, some sports like paddle or tennis, they help a lot. Yeah, they contribute to you coming back to the next day to the office recharged and able to take on more challenges and to continue the effort that you're doing. So this is one thing, but I think another thing that I also like to do, and it could sound like it's related to work, but I don't feel it is, and that is actually to content or to seek more knowledge about the industries
Yeah.
that we're serving. Again, out of pure curiosity, and not
Yeah.
that I'm looking for a prospect
Yeah.
or looking for,
Yeah. Yeah.
but but you want to be able to see what analysts are saying about the
Uh,
industries that you're serving. It will help you to connect the dots. It will help you to have the right conversation with your customers. It will help you to even use the right language.
uh,
And believe me, customers appreciate that very much when
yeah.
they see that you're not only talking about a technology or a piece of software that they want right now, but you know their bigger challenges, you know the big picture, and you can help them go to the business with those solutions. They really appreciate it.
Yeah. And I think, without you kind of, saying it, but I think those type of things, obviously that's continuous learning, right? And you're doing it in your own time, and I get what you mean. Like it might come across as work, but it's
Yeah,
not. But at the same time, those little things without maybe realizing also contributes to being a president's club level, right? Because obviously
yeah,
you're mastering your craft, right? You're
yeah,
setting yourself up for you. Okay, again, sports people.
yeah,
I'll talk about Ronaldo, right? He trains outside of everybody else, right? So it's doing extra
correct.
outside, not because it's work, it's because that person just loves what they're doing. They're really invested
Yeah,
in what they're doing. So it becomes part of their personal kind of time,
yeah,
where they're kind of any information you're preparing yourself for. If any question comes, I can answer that question. I'm going to have the answer. I'm going to have the more information I have, the more of an expert you will come across to the customer, which obviously helps that process.
absolutely, absolutely. That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Except that I will be a bit biased when it comes to Cristiano Ronaldo. My example would be Mohamed Salah.
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. That's fair.
I'm Egyptian. I need to. Yeah, we have our own role models. And
Yeah.
and by the
Yeah.
way, he does the same. He trains. He's
Yeah.
in the gym outside the training hours of their club and their team. So yeah, he's our own example.
And to be
Sorry for
fair,
being
to
biased.
credit to him, I think his career is more like a salesperson because obviously Ronaldo from very young, he took off, right? Salah had
Yeah,
a rocky first few years. He went to one team, transferred out, but
that's right.
he kept learning, right? Learning from everything he did. And now, in I'd say the second half of his career is when he's now come out and
Yeah,
become this world class player, right? So definitely
yeah,
a better example from you for sure. And I'm interested to know, especially, I think what's good about your career is obviously you started off technical, you leaned towards obviously more business interaction, and then you moved into sales, But I'm interested to know your opinion on, do you believe, salespeople have a type of I don't know, aura or kind of, type of way of, usually you can tell a salesperson in a room sometimes you can't, right? So do
yeah.
you feel sales is something that just can be with the right training taught to anybody, or a person has to have a certain type of personality within their skill set in order to be a salesperson.
Yeah, the nature versus the nurture, right?
Yes, correct, correct.
I think I would say it definitely requires both. If you
Yeah,
have a talent alone, it will not be enough to build the discipline and the amount of work that it requires. And if you have the like the skills alone, you will still suffer if you don't have the
yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah.
But if I have to say it's one thing versus the other, I would be leaning towards nature.
Okay. Yeah,
You need to have that personality
yeah,
because just to explain or elaborate a little, there are certain things I don't think you can teach to people
yeah.
so they can become good salespeople.
Mm,
And one of those things we already mentioned, like the genuine curiosity to learn
mm,
and to know how things work and how I can help my customer better. And you can't just go and memorize the feature list within your product and go
yeah,
and say, I will make
yeah,
a great deal today. It's not like that.
yeah,
So one thing is the curiosity. I think the other very important thing, and you can easily say that whenever someone is lacking it, they will not make it.
yeah,
I think this one is the make things happen attitude. I mean, we are advising our customers. It's a collaborative work. We're trying to consult them and take them through a journey of education and awareness and adoption and all that. But at the same time, you need to be the guy who make things happen.
yeah,
You have certain attributes within the deal, your deal making process. You have a timeline. You have to drive a lot of teams and a lot of stakeholders towards a path that will lead to deal closure. Those teams could be your customer, your partner, your internal team. Sometimes there are third parties like regulatory authorities that
yeah,
are contributing to the decision making. So you need to be that leader. You need to be able to micromanage and to drive all those people towards something that you want to achieve. Not you want to achieve in in a selfish manner, but
mm,
as something that you think is
yeah,
right and
yeah,
for the customer and for our company. So I don't think you can teach people that. You
yeah,
cannot teach them the make things happen attitude
mm,
and commit and control the path as I was mentioning. And I will tell you one more that I saw. It was actually one of the managing director of one of the companies I worked for before, and he had that sticker on the back of his laptop, and it was a very simple statement which read, "You cannot teach heart."
yes, true. Yeah,
Very simple,
yeah,
very straight to the point, and you cannot teach someone to have passion
yeah,
about what they do.
yeah,
So, but again, back to to the other side of the coin, there are certain skills that you need to have.
yeah,
There are certain conduct that you need to
mm,
train yourself to do in terms of cadence and all that.
yeah,
Objection handling, cold
mm,
calling, all of these
yeah,
are not necessarily only a talent, but you
yeah.
can enrich them with some learning and some skills.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And looking ahead, it's coming up to 3 years. Do you have any, any specific targets or goals, that you've set yourself? Obviously, you've touched on you have your own personal targets that you set, but is there anything, you're trying to kind of aim for in the next few years?
It's mainly, yeah, it's like they are related to the goals I just
Yeah.
mentioned and your own KPIs that you need to
Mm.
have close to your heart.
Yeah.
And they basically revolve around continuing to break records and to
Yeah.
get more better and better and bigger deals, especially within certain industries that I'm targeting. I want to establish our footprint within in those industries more. So yeah, this is for the foreseeable future will be
Yeah.
my mission.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Well, I appreciate you speaking to me, Ahmed. It was great to talk to you, hear about your very interesting journey and understand, the things you're doing differently to a lot of people and, trying to push yourself to be as best as you can with your own targets rather than only focusing on company targets. I look
Thank
forward
you.
to watching you progress and, wishing you all the best going forward.
I appreciate it. It was my pleasure. I really enjoyed the conversation today.
I did as well. Thank you, Mohammed.
Thank you, Firoz. See you.
Bye.